What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Somebody online said that this was the Real Housewives of Prison. I need y'all to quit. Oh my goodness. I wonder, now that I'm starting to think about it more, I wonder if there is a branch of like FBI or some kind of, I don't know, some officers or somebody dedicated to really focus on how the women or the Real Housewives of all the franchises, not just Potomac, right? Because I know Teresa Giudice, she went away for fraud, right? She signed documents alongside of her husband Joe, who got deported to Italy. But Jen Shaw is still locked up from Salt Lake City. So Wendy, I feel like is just the latest in a long list of women who have got caught up in fraud charges. And I'm wondering if being on this show, like if you know that you're not living right, the last thing you want to do is be on TV and put a target on your back. With that being said, Mr. Andy Cohen himself, the executive producer of The Real Housewives, all the franchises, has spoken out in regards to the latest housewife, Wendy Osefo, and her arrest charge. So let's hear what he has to say.
An Andy Cohen live radio show.
Like all of you, I found out about the charges against Wendy and Eddie Osefo on Friday morning, and there's not much that I can say. I know nothing of the charges more than you guys do, than what I've read. I'm sad about this. I'm really sad about this. And, Wendy is just, I'm a Wendy fan. And she has been a great housewife and a great role model she's always led with education and her solid family values.
The 57-year-old goes on to add this about Wendy, who shares kids Carter, Cruz, and Cameron with Eddie.
That's what, I'm really thinking about her and her family, and I'm certainly hoping that this is all some big, nothing.
Last week, a Maryland grand jury indicted Wendy and Eddie on multiple felony counts of fraud, 7 for the former professor and 9 for her husband. The charges are related to an April 2024 incident where the Osefos allegedly fraudulently reported a burglary and theft at their home, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office says in an October 10th statement. The couple, who were released on a $50,000 bond and returned home in the early hours of October 10th, are due back in court in November, online court records show. The Real Housewives of Potomac airs Sundays at 8 p.m. on Bravo.
He can say that he hopes that this is nothing, but 9 times out of 10, we know that they're not just misdemeanors, right? These are felony charges, and they're multiple felony charges. And I feel like Eddie and Wendy they're not going to be dismissed. They may dismiss, possibly 1 or 2 to consolidate them, but and I'm hoping that maybe they will show some kind of leniency if this is their first offense. We don't know. I haven't heard anything about Wendy having a past legal history or any kind of record, her or Eddie, as opposed to Karen Huger, who had multiple alcohol related charges before she served 6 months in jail. And thank you for whoever because I had said prison before, and it wasn't prison, it was jail that Karen served in. But I haven't heard anything about Wendy or Eddie having a record. So with that being said, if this is their first offense, then hopefully they will be shown some leniency because, they do have young children. And it is unfortunate because I just made a video about, Wendy losing her job. So Andy didn't, seem to say that, he wasn't going to bring her back for next season. Because if she does come back for next season, similarly to Karen, this will be a storyline that people are interested in. People are messy. We love drama. And, Teresa came back. I feel like Jen Shaw's going to come back to Salt Lake City once she's free. Countess Luann from New York came back. So Karen, I'm sure, is coming back. And I hope that Wendy comes back. But I think that they probably will end up doing some jail time, unfortunately. Or I don't know. I mean, I guess, do the crime, do the time. But like I said, I'm thinking about their kids. But yeah, I feel like they probably will do some jail time. Now, how much? Who knows? Since this is hopefully their first offense, we'll find that out soon. I think their sentencing is what, next month, if I'm not mistaken, or their trial, I think, um, begins next month. This is a mess. This is a mess. I'm sad as well because Wendy is somebody that, I know, like I said, a lot of people were turned off by the fact that she led with her degrees. I feel like she led with her education and her degrees because she may have felt a bit, like outcasted or insecure. And I was just watching a clip of her mom. I don't know if you guys remember her mom asking her for an allowance at the dinner table. After she said she had just thrown her like a $50,000 or $60,000 extravagant party, and it's just like her mom's like, lips were all turned up, and she turned away from her. She was just very rude and judgmental. Well, Mama, Wendy's mom, because I was gonna say Mama Osefo, but no, that's Eddie's last name. Susan, that's her name. Susan, let me hold your hand with a napkin in between when I tell you this. Baby, beloved, okay, in my young Van Zandt voice, there are not going to be any more allowances. I can almost assure you, once Wendy and Eddie come out of this, and who knows, like I said, if they even decide to stay in the country, hopefully they stay together. Some people are speculating they may divorce after this. Who knows? Because financial strains are a very common reason why people divorce. But hopefully they can make it through this together and come out on the other side stronger. But I highly doubt that once Wendy and Eddie do get on the other side of this, that they're going to continue to splurge and, give her mother um, an allowance. Not to say that she's going to completely cut her off because that's her mom. So I'm sure that she'll still probably help if she can or when she can. But every time I look up, Wendy, is losing another job, another revenue stream. So who knows? I hope that she can still sell her candles online or, like I said, go back to her YouTube channel if that's still up and running. But they have a family to provide for. And the bills do not stop just because you made some bad decisions. But Andy, he said that this is his first time hearing about it, or he found out with everyone else. I mean, I don't know when he expected to find out. I guess that he may have thought that she could have given him a courtesy call. I don't know. But I mean, I'm sure that Wendy and Eddie did not think this was going to happen. I mean, this has been what, a year and a half, because they went to Jamaica and they made this claim last April, if I believe, April 2024. So a full year and a half later, I'm pretty sure they probably thought that, you know, it was water under the bridge. Like, how long would the statute of limitations Well, I guess it won't. A year and a half would probably still be within that time frame, but after a year and a half, I'm sure. I mean, Wendy was wearing her same jewelry on the red carpet again. Child, they probably was like, okay, it's a wrap type of thing. But baby, listen, it always comes back full circle, and this is a mess. Because I feel like if they would have just not made this false claim, if they were in debt, they could have put their brains together and found a way to come out of it. You know what I mean? By using this platform, she could have, turned like the courses she made for Wesleyan, she could have made other courses and sold those online. And instead of, if you guys remember the episode where she was talking about redesigning the kitchen or renovating the kitchen, instead of making plans for renovation and things like that, they could have used the money from Happy Eddie to slowly but surely, get themselves out of debt. Like he was talking about expanding to other states. Like if they would have just given it some time, right? Instead of, whether it was greed, whether it was arrogance, whatever the motive was behind making that false claim that their house was robbed while they were in Jamaica, even cut back on the vacations. You know what I mean? Because I know during this economic downturn that we're all in this country and even around the world, people are having difficult times, but most people are, cutting back on unnecessary spending, vacations, things like that. But then I think about, like, Eddie wrote the mess down in an email. He wrote an email to Wendy talking about, can you find, extra high value items such as Chanel shoes so we can maximize our insurance claim. Like, what? What law school? I'm so serious. Edward, what law school did you go to that would allow you to write down something so incriminating? I just, like I made in the last video, but I remember even just watching from The Wire, right? Like when he wasn't even, it wasn't even electronic. He was just taking notes on his lap, and Idris Elba's character Stringer Bell snatched it from him. He said, "I know you are not taking notes, writing down notes about a criminal enterprise. Like, who? What? I want to know what. I want to know what. I want to know what he was thinking." And I'm so serious. Like, what would make you write down in an email, an electronic, like not like a kitchen note, not like the dude on The Wire, right? It was just like a notepad or whatever he was writing down, taking notes, because that can easily be ripped up. But an email and electronic, that's in the cloud forever. Hence why, the law enforcement has it now. And also, this is to your wife. You're around her all the time. Like, you couldn't have just rolled over in bed and told her that, or in the bathroom while you guys are brushing your teeth or whatever. You know what I mean? Just in the kitchen, whatever, wherever. Not in an email. I don't send emails to like romantic partners or, close family and friends. It's usually like a text or, I mean, sometimes it's rare, like if I have to send, some kind of attachment or whatever, but 9 times out of 10, and it's never going to be something that could be considered not above board. And I'm not even a lawyer. I started off college pre-law, but I switched it to education. But my point is, what were you thinking? Like, he had to have been high on his own supply. And I'm so serious. There's no way that any logical person, especially a legal mind, would write down in an email that he wanted his wife to find additional items, such as Chanel shoes, and gave examples. I just like, the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe they're not as smart as I thought they were. Maybe they're not. Maybe law school wasn't as hard as I thought it was. I'm not even being funny. I'm just sitting here. Like, what was your frame of reference? What was your mind? What was your end game? What was the goal? You know? Because even after all of this, Wendy was still wearing the jewelry on the red carpet that was photographed. Because there's pictures of it all up and down my timeline. There were items, I think the cops said it was like 15 items still in the house. They didn't put them in the garage, in a box, in the safe. They didn't put them in a, put the jewelry in a safe deposit box. None of those things. Like, that to me is so, I don't want to say sloppy, but just, maybe they can spin it, and I was going to say blatant. Maybe they can say that because of like the pressure that she felt from her parents in the show, that there was like temporary insanity. I don't know. I just, for them to be so blatant within it, be all out in the open, like the lie wasn't a good lie. The email is, solidified evidence. The fact that she was wearing the jewelry on the red carpet doesn't make sense to me. She could have broken down the jewels and put those in different pieces and, recreated that if she was trying to hide it. That's the thing. Like, they weren't trying to hide this crime. And I'm just wondering, why not? Like, what was your framework? What was your frame of mind? Because on the last episode, Eddie was talking to his kids and was saying that he was going to branch out with Happy Eddie in different states like New Jersey and things like that. So they couldn't have been completely broke. They couldn't have been completely in debt. So I'm thinking, why didn't they just wait it out and allow those other stores to expand? And, Wendy could have expanded and, gained additional revenue streams or whatever to get themselves out of debt. It takes, I mean, it takes some time. Like, it reminds me of Toya and Dr. Eugene on Married to Medicine. They were in some serious tax debt. They owed the IRS a lot of money. And one would think that Toya could, have gone out and gotten a job. But no, her husband, put his mind to it. And he picked up, extra shifts at the hospital. But eventually they paid off the IRS and they ended up, moving and buying new houses and things like that. But my point is that if you can get yourself into debt, you can get yourself out of debt, but not by digging, a worse hole, lying to multiple insurance companies, and then wearing the jewelry that you allege was stolen out where people could and would take pictures of you and print them in publications and online on the World Wide Web, or write emails to your spouse about needing to find additional items to maximize and max out your insurance claim. That doesn't make any sense. Like, how could you? I don't know. I feel like it reminds me of that line. There's a thin line between brilliance and insanity, because there's no way by them doing this did they really think that they were going to get away with all of this. Like, what was the end goal? They didn't try to hide the 15 or so items. They didn't try to like give them away. They did take some stuff back to the store. I think Christian Dior said that they took some stuff back like years ago. So they've been watching them for a while. And that's what brings me back to my original premise. Do they have people specifically watching these housewives? Like, the show, the franchise in and of itself, right? Real Housewives was a spinoff from Desperate Housewives, but first it started out with Orange County, and then it branched off to different cities all around the country and even the world. There's international shows as well. But if you're on television, you can't commit crimes with the same anonymity as just regular people, the regular public. Like, you're literally in the spotlight. And the gag is, if you are in debt and you have that type of platform, flip it like Melody Cherie from Love and Marriage Huntsville. Mel is on TikTok live all the time. You know who else is on TikTok live a lot? Terry Dubrow, Heather Dubrow's husband from was she Orange County, or she wasn't? Yeah, she was Orange County, not Beverly Hills. He's a surgeon, and he be on TikTok live selling all kind of stuff, apple cider vinegar drinks and probiotic this and just all kind of stuff. Lala Anthony, she's also selling skincare and perfumes and stuff on TikTok live. I'm about to start selling stuff on TikTok live too. But my point is, Wendy has that platform already. Like, you don't have to lie to the insurance companies, because now not only are you possibly going to prison, but you've also lost your job at your university. And now, the thing that they did not want to have happen the most, right? That if you thought you were going to be disgraced from being in debt or, having financial issues, that is nothing compared to this. Now they pulled the wife swap episode. I'm like, all of this is a mess. She could have easily gone on TikTok live or YouTube live. She had that YouTube channel. She could have gone on YouTube live and sold her courses. She could make some, reality TV courses, create, like I said, her and Eddie could have easily written a book. Anything other than, lying and scheming, and now just possibly going to prison. I hope that Andy, keeps her on, like he doesn't fire her. And hopefully they can work out a way that, I don't know if they're going to allow her to, come back to wife swap, or I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but like I said, I hope that she doesn't lose this job as well. Because I feel like the Housewives platform is so big. Like, I don't understand why every housewife doesn't have their own business. I really don't. And even, like Giselle and Ashley had their GNA. It's like they did not have a whole lot of products, and they did not market them very well. Because if you have any kind of like marketing sense, you can absolutely use this platform to catapult you to make some serious money. Melody did that. She's not even a Real Housewife, but like I said, Melody Cherie, she went from filing bankruptcy after divorcing Martell Holt to now being a multimillionaire. She doesn't just have her Seventh Avenue beauty line. She also teaches online courses about renovating homes, and she has like Mimosas with Melody. She has just multiple, income streams that I'm sure Wendy could have if she, wanted to. If her and Eddie could have put those brilliant minds together and used them for good instead of evil. Like, instead of getting high on your own supply, happy Eddie. But they could have, like I said, written some kind of book, taught online courses, whatever the case may be, even just her YouTube alone, right? Nene Leakes, she transitioned from being a housewife to being on YouTube. So did Portia, so does Kenya. And those are, Carlos King's YouTube channel does very well. So there was 1,000,001 ways to make money, not this. This makes me really sad. Because now not only are you losing your money and your jobs, but you're going to lose your freedom more than likely. Unless, like I said, unless they have really good lawyers, which we know they can't afford, unfortunately. But if their judge or jury gives them leniency, if this is their first criminal offense, we'll see. I'll keep you posted. I doubt it, seriously, but, because being famous or being, it can turn into being infamous really quickly. It's a double-edged sword. You can use your platform to make money, or you can use your platform to lose everything. It's unfortunate that they chose the latter. You guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.